Ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Hey, everyone. We are fresh back from MAGFest 2020.
And this is 2020.
And we figured we'd do a quick video because we haven't done one in a while. We missed doing one last year.
Yeah, we did.
For 2019, even though we went, we just never did a video for it. But we had a really good time, and we wanted to just, show our pickups and talk about our experience. So I guess the vendor floor we'll start with.
That's where we went first.
Yes, where we went first, and it was, as always, a little lackluster. I've mentioned this before, but if you're really hardcore into looking or finding games or hunting for games, it's not the greatest vendor floor. It's primarily shirts and stuffed animals and anime stuff. It's like what would you say the percentages of games? Like 5%?
Well, I don't even know. I think there were 4 vendors, right?
Four vendors, and some of them I would even call half
games.
vendors.
Yeah.
So, and that's about typical. The selection wasn't great this year. I did get quite a few games. I'll show them to you, but you don't really go for that. It's very game oriented, but you don't really go to MAGFest if you're seriously hunting for retro video games. Which is always a little disappointing for me because that's what I love to do. But aside from that, it was really a great experience this year. We had a lot of fun.
Okay.
It may have been one of the better years. I don't really know exactly why. Just
this year there were several people that we knew.
That's definitely part of it, yeah.
Which was awesome.
So we'll talk about that. We hooked up with the Polykill boys, Jake and Travis, and we hooked up with the guy from Winterion, Mauser TV. I don't remember his first name, unfortunately, and I'm terrible with names anyway, so I apologize for that. But we've seen him a couple of times, and we've met up with him. I think it was last year as well, or the
I
year
believe
before.
so, yeah.
And of course, Yoshi was with us, and we also bumped into Skylar Discart.
And we met his wife.
I met his wife and child, and it was great.
Little boy Landon.
He wasn't there that long. He came kind of later in the day on Saturday and was just kind of on the vendor floor. And it was great to talk to him for a couple of minutes. And he was supposed to come back Sunday and never did. So he said he really had a good time, though, and he's going to come back for sure next year. So that's kind of exciting. And that's his first time at MAGFest,
Yeah, it was.
even though he lives very close by, like a half an hour from there, I think. So, yeah, it was great meeting up with Cartridge Club members. And I also bumped into 2 other Atari fans, Ferg from Atari 2600 Game by Game podcast, which is a fantastic podcast for anybody that loves Atari like I do. And I've been kind of following him for a while now, and I saw him. I didn't even really know he was there. We were in a panel. I was like, oh, I know him. That's Ferg. So I went and said hi to him. He was with Rob from Atari Spot, and who I also converse with quite often on Twitter. So it was really cool to bump into them guys and chat with them for a couple of minutes. And I got a quick picture I will show as well with them. So that was really cool. So yeah, it was really neat bumping into people and meeting people that we know on Twitter and seeing them face to face and hanging out and chatting. So that's always obviously a good time. So what else? So the vendor floor we talked about. I guess we'll show our pickups kind of at the end. Well, you're wearing yours. Why don't you go ahead and show them your awesome shirt there?
I don't know. They could probably just see it, right?
Yeah.
Can't they just see?
Yeah.
It's from The Mandalorian.
So who is this
I love
guy? She buys a shirt from this guy every single...
I love him so much. It's Geek Boy Press, I think is what it is. If we look it up, we can put it there.
Oh yeah, link in the description or whatever.
I really do love him. I've bought a shirt from him every year at MAGFest, and when we go, we haven't gone to too many games every year, but when we go to too many games, he's there, and I always buy a shirt or 2. I actually have most of his shirts, and I love them because he's different. It's not like a Hot Topic shirt. Usually they're clever, like when Stranger Things first came out. Remember that one?
Yeah,
it was Hawkins AV department, and then it said Home of the Upside Down, and on the back it had the number 11. So they're just kind of clever and witty. I think he's a pretty funny individual. So he knows me now when I go. He always says, asks about how things are going, and so he's a really great guy. And he's got an Etsy shop. So if you want to check it out, I would suggest it.
Yep. And when she saw that, she was like, "That's
right away." I was really disappointed because like I said, like Duke said, we got there Friday, and he had this in a hoodie, and I wanted the hoodie so bad, but he didn't have my size anymore. He had sold out already. That's how fast they went. And I was talking to him, and he said, "Yeah, I thought the Mandalorian stuff might go quick, but he said he had no idea. It just like flew. It was gone.
Well, yeah.
So I bought the shirt right away. Usually what I do is I'll look around his stuff and I'll come back and forth. And I honestly don't always buy it until Sunday sometimes because, you know, I have to decide, make some decisions. But I knew right away I wanted it, and he said they're just going. So I bought it right away so that I made sure I had it. So I'll probably go to his Etsy shop and buy the hoodie too because, well, you need a hoodie.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And that's the only thing you got, right? Really?
Yeah, that was it.
She never buys much.
I don't. All my games we pretty much have. Anything that I'm interested in, Duke already has. So, I actually did ask if we have Luigi's Mansion 3D for the 3DS, right?
Yeah, Dark Moon.
Dark Moon.
Which I did.
That's it. So
Yeah.
I might play that because a couple people said that was really good. And I haven't done anything on my DS in a really long time.
Well, it's always fun watching her. She always takes her 3DS every year and does the meat collecting and plays the games. And it's always, she doesn't play a lot of games, so it's fun to watch her get into it a little bit. And
I don't have time.
I hear you.
I don't have time on the regular.
I have very little time as well, but it's always great to see her take her 3DS and collect the Miis and play some games. So she enjoyed that, I think. So I guess I'll go ahead and show my pickups real quick since we're talking about that. I did. When I first got there, I was very kind of discouraged because I was like, there's just nothing here.
He was not happy.
And I didn't think I'd buy any games. And I just was like, whatever. You know, I know it's not about, you know, I guess the games primarily coming to MAGFest, but still, I always like coming home with a bag of games. So, but then I just kept looking and looking. I was like, oh, wait a minute, I don't have that game. I kind of need that. When I just kept finding more. So most of these I found the very last day, Sunday, today, at the last minute, just as kind of like a last-ditch effort to find something. And I was like, wait a minute, there's more games here than I kind of thought that I want. So I'll start out with the Atari games. I love collecting the Sears Telegames variants, so I found, these are ones I don't have. I found baseball. These are all pretty good shape. I found Breakaway 4, number 12, I guess, whatever that means. And I found, well, here's another Sears Telegame, Chase, which is like, sort of like Tron, the light cycle game, where you have to try to catch the guy in your track. It's a pretty simple game, but...
Did they number them? Because that's 14.
Yeah, all the Sears Telegames have a number.
Oh, well, so that's why it was...
Well, yeah, I don't know what the number represents. I guess just the numbered cards. It's just how they did it.
Okay.
But anyway, I also, believe it or not, didn't have Activision's Ice Hockey. And this label, for an Activision label, is actually fairly good. So, happy to get that one. And I got a label upgrade here from Miss Pac-Man. Chris Roberts gave me this cart a while back, and it didn't have the end label. So this is like a label upgrade for me. So I was happy to find this. It's got a little tear in the corner there, but I don't care too much about that. The end label looks pretty good. So those are the 5 Atari games I picked up. And, I got... I had one of these Madden games. I think I had 98, which was, I think, the last one on the SNES. And I kind of been keeping my eye out for that, but I don't have any of the Madden games. And this was $10 in the box with everything, all the literature and the manual and everything. So I was like, oh, I'll buy that for $10. So I've been kind of itching to play some football. Our Ravens are doing real well.
They are right
now. They're number 1 seed in the playoffs, and it's been an exciting year for us Ravens fans. So I'm kind of excited to try this out again. It's been a while since I played a Madden game on the SNES. So then for my Nintendo pickups, or NES pickups, I picked up 2 Capcom games I did not yet have, Section Z and Trojan. Don't know too much about these games. They look like older ones. I believe these are probably, I can't see the date on there, but I like Capcom. All the early Capcom games I love. Gunsmoke and Bionic Commando and Commando and all those earlier ones I love. So these probably are pretty good. So I don't know much about them. Didn't have Friday the 13th. I don't have a lot of these LGN games. I just have Karate Kid because I had that when I was a kid. But I'm going to start collecting these. I never had like this or Jaws or Nightmare on Elm Street. So I'm going to start kind of collecting those because I don't have them in my collection yet. And this is one of my best ones. It's got some writing on there, but I'll get that off. This is a black box game I did not have yet.
Zero Dragons! Oh my god, he just ran in.
Donkey Kong Jr. And I got this. I actually traded some games for this, even swap. I had some doubles, and he just, yeah, I'll take those for that. So I was like, that's great. So happy to add this to my collection. And that is the extent of my pickups, right? I didn't get anything else, did I? Know.
Yes, you did.
Oh, yeah, my gosh. It's the first thing I got. I don't know if you can see it, but I love collecting my Square Painter paintings, and I saw this on Twitter when he put a picture up on it. I could probably have a picture here. When he put this picture up on Twitter, I was like, I got my eye on that Bionic Commando one. I want that one. So the first thing I saw was this one, and we picked it up right away. So very happy to have that. So now, if you can see my awesome collection here, I've got Metroid, Contra, Castlevania, and Bionic Commando. So those are great. I love those things. He does a great job.
Yeah.
I see him every year at Too Many Games and MAGFest. So I'll put a link a link to him in the description below as well. But Square Painter is an awesome guy. So check him out. So I guess we can talk about some of the panels.
I would like to talk about the panels.
So we only went to 2 this year, but both of them were very, very good. And as we get older and the crowd seems to get younger, I guess some of the stuff is not as interesting to me as maybe it was years ago. I'm seeing more things about game development and just, I guess, stuff that I'm not interested in. But I always gravitate towards like game history stuff and everything. So we went to 2 panels kind of based on game history. One was a panel with how to research for game history, which was really interesting. It was about, they had some authors up there and a college student that's writing a dissertation, and they were just kind of giving you tips on what it's like to really do some real hardcore research and not just Google everything, but to actually have phone interviews and to really dig in deep with I guess old newspapers and stuff like that and articles, and it was just very interesting to hear their take on what they had to do some of the research for their projects. One guy had written a book. He was an author about NBA Jam. I can't remember the title of the book, but he wrote a book on NBA Jam.
Apparently, I guess whoever published that book has published other books about other video games through the years, and they used different authors for each one, and he was selected to do the NBA Jam one, and it was fascinating to listen to him. 4 years of research.
He put into
68 interviews. I mean, the amount of time. And that's not like, that wasn't his job. He was an he built insurance websites
or something like that.
Yeah. But, so he did that, as like a night job kind of thing. And so it was just the amount of work that these individuals put into what they do was really interesting to me. And it's clear that they don't, make tons of money. I mean, one guy's still at college. I mean, advanced college, but, he's a PhD candidate. But, I mean, he's a young guy, and he's in college, and he doesn't have a lot of money. And, clearly it's not making them rich, but the amount of time and energy and effort, you could tell it was very much a passion for them. So it was really interesting. It
was a good panel.
It was.
And then we went to the Frank Cifaldi and what's her name? Metal Jesus Rock. She's with him all the time.
Well, she's his co-director for the archive.
I'll put the picture. I took a picture of that. I'm embarrassed. Her husband's name is Cody. I knew that.
Oh, that's helpful.
Is it I don't remember her
Kelsey?
name. Kelsey, that's it.
Like, wait.
I don't know her personally, but I know of her.
Right.
But both of them did a panel.
She was great.
Both of them did a panel on how the progress of the, what is it, the foundation called?
The
that they do, they run, they developed,
The
created.
video game archive.
No.
We don't know anything we saw.
It was so interesting that we forgot everything. Everybody's name, the name of the thing.
Oh my gosh.
History, the Video Game History Foundation Archive Development Team Research Lab or something like that.
Oh my, that is not correct.
Anyway, we'll put a picture up. But it's Frank Cifaldi's kind of creation, and
that's what we just kept calling it. It was
the Frank Cifaldi.
It's Frank's panel. We're gonna go to Frank's.
We see him every year. He always does something on video game history. But it was just about his thing that he created is 3 years in now, and they were just explaining what their goals are and how far they've come, and it was very interesting to see what they want to do with game preservation, and which is very interesting to me. I like that the efforts that they're putting into that, because I think it's important. So that was a very good panel as well.
Yeah, it was really.
Those are the two panels that we went to. Both of them very enjoyable.
Aside from the one that Travis
made
us go to by
we
mistake.
thought we were going to one panel. We ended up in the wrong panel, and we kind of awkwardly all had to shift out of the room kind of in a hurry, because we were like, we don't want to sit here. We don't really have an interest in this one, but it was funny.
Well, it was just the wrong one. We thought we were supposed to be.
There was some
something else.
miscommunication on the app or
Yes,
something.
it was. It was mislabeled on the sign outside the door. Wasn't really Travis's fault, but
Yeah.
we're going to say that it was.
So, yes. But anyway, aside from those two panels, we always enjoy the cosplay every year.
Love the cosplay. It's part of my. It's seriously my favorite. Well, one of
Yeah.
my favorite parts.
I say this every year. It's something I would never do, but I really appreciate and admire
Unbelievable.
the work put into it. And it's just super cool to see these. Especially now, there seems to be a new thing with all the lights in them, which I guess...
Well, there was an entire panel on that. I pointed
Yeah.
that out to Duke. There was a whole panel titled Cosplay and LED Lighting. And so
Yeah.
my guess is that they taught you how to
I'm
use
assuming
LED
that
lighting.
maybe
It was
they-
amazing.
become more readily available, easier to put in or something, because you're seeing it more prominently nowadays.
Yeah, it was
And
really
a lot
cool.
of the costumes are all lit up with LED. And it's just so cool looking. I love lighting because I'm an electrician, but it was just super cool to see the high quality cosplay. It was really, really good.
Some
this
of
year.
it was amazing.
Yeah, so
I
we
mean,
always
some of
enjoy
it.
just seeing that around. And we didn't go to any of the contests or anything, but
I
just...
don't think they did I looked because I always do, but I didn't see.
But they're everywhere. They're walking around.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the guys that do it are in the cosplay the whole event. It seems
Yeah.
anyway.
I will say I think this year the arcade was disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah, that's one thing that was different was and one thing while I'm thinking about it that we really always enjoy is the museum.
oh yeah, the museum's great.
What is it called technically?
They just call it the museum.
the museum. Yeah,
It's just the museum.
a timeline of old consoles and computers, and they have like placards on the wall, kind of explaining when things came out and how they came to be, and it's just really fun to read all that stuff and see all the old computers, set up, and you can play games on them and everything. I love that. So that's always fun. I went there like 3 times, I think, just to
Yes, we did.
play with some of the old Commodore 64s and the Apple computers and the old consoles. They had the Atari 5200 set up, the 7800 set up, all the classic consoles. So that's always fun to see. And even like the really old ones, like the ones I don't even know much about, like they had like the Vectrex there, and they had the the Game Boy thing you just put your face up to, the Virtual Boy.
I was gonna say it's a virtual boy.
Virtual Boy, and some really old obscure ones from like the 70s. So pretty much everything they had. So
Yeah, I think that's new because not new obviously because we've done it in years past, but it wasn't there the first couple of years. I think that's a Frank Cifaldi thing. I think that, and he said they do that at Portland, right? That's what he said in his panel, that they take artifacts to the Portland Gaming, Retro Gaming
Okay.
Expo and set up there so that people can kind of see
Gotcha.
the things that they're preserving. I thought he said that in his
Yeah,
panel.
maybe. That's always a highlight for me, though, to see that museum. It's very
Yeah.
cool. And then across from the museum this year, for the first time, they had some of the more classic arcades set up. So they kind of combined those two things.
But it was, what was in there, 15 machines maybe?
About 15 or so. But some of my favorites. They had like Tron in there and like Donkey Kong
Right,
and
but-
Gorf and...
In previous years,
Yes.
on the floor, they would have maybe 1 or 2 Donkey Kongs,
Yeah.
and they would have, they just had so many. And this year, that was all replaced with, what are those? I don't know
Well,
what they
they seem to have made more room for like modern, like a lot of the Japanese sit-down ones, which I don't even know if they're new or old or what, because I'm not very familiar with them. But there was a lot of those, a lot of pinball
are.
machines.
A lot
down
of
there.
those, and a lot of pinball.
And
there was skee-ball this year, which was weird.
I didn't even notice that, really.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. And they had, it did have, this, Mortal Kombats and stuff like that down
they-
there.
But, I mean, there were not that
Bad
many
dudes.
arcade games at all.
No, not like there used to be. But
That was really disappointing because I've always liked the arcade. Because I'm not good at arcade games, so for me it has to be free.
Yeah,
Because
free play.
I can't afford to. I'm just so bad. But it's fun when it's free. We did play our Mortal Kombat because we always do. But they didn't have.
Yeah, I didn't spend a ton of time
Well, like
in the
the
arcade
Turtles,
this year.
I don't think. Was it just not working? Because we usually play that too.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see it.
I don't remember.
I did play the Star Wars
I was
thing.
gonna say
I
you
love
played
that
your
game.
Star Wars game.
The one, the trilogy one, where you can play all 3 all 3 movies and different levels. It's really fun. So I did play not through it, but I did play that for a little bit. You had to wait for that one because the guy in front of me
Because when you
was
get
like,
on it, you should not play through it. It's rude.
No, it's not. Yes, everybody there played through that. And he was great, man.
He really was,
blew
but
through
it did take a long. Well, it took longer than we really wanted to wait, but we waited.
It's fine. But I got to play, so that was cool.
That was fun.
So yeah, we didn't spend a ton of time in the arcade, and then there of course is the classic console area.
That was fun.
Where
I
all
played.
the
What did I play
consoles
for the
set
first time?
Oh, Warlords.
Warlords.
We played
on the
Warlords
Atari,
together on the Atari 2600.
which was so fun.
It's a fun game. I
Yeah,
love
it
that
was.
game. So we did play that round of 5. Who won?
Not me. Like, I don't know. You just keep turning and pressing a button. It's
Good
just.
game. That's a good game.
It actually
Probably one
was.
of the
It
best
was
paddle
a
games
really good game.
on the
It was a really
2600.
good game.
So that
But
was fun.
you knew what you were doing, and I didn't.
Fair. That's fair comment. It's true.
I mean, I won one round.
You did.
One round.
You did.
Out of 5 or 6 or
I
whatever.
let her win that round.
You did not
No,
stop.
I'm just kidding.
I won Mortal Kombat.
You did?
Uh-huh.
You beat me once.
Yeah?
Okay, well, she beat me once in Mortal Kombat. She's actually pretty good at Mortal Kombat. I give her credit for that one.
Okay, but I'm
She's
not good
good.
at anything else.
No, you're good at other games, I'm sure. Tomodachi Life, maybe?
You better I don't even play Tomodachi Life.
What's the one you played?
Animal
Animal
Crossing.
Crossing. She's really good at that.
Stop! I'm not. My villagers are probably so upset
Oh.
I haven't played it in like 3 years.
I don't even know anything about it. But anyway. So, what else? What else can we talk about?
So we did panels and
Well, just the overall experience, I guess. We always love MAGFest because we get out of the house and we spend the whole weekend together with no kids and no work and no worries. And there's all kind of youthful energy around,
Yeah,
and it's just
it's true.
so fun. So it's not the greatest convention for hunting for games, but we really love it because it's just super fun and super high energy.
it is a
and-
very, I will say, it's an extremely high energy convention. Like, okay, not that I go to a lot because obviously I don't, but compared to Too Many Games, which is a great convention, this goes on all the time. It's always happening. If you're there at 3 o'clock in the morning, something's going on. There's
Yeah.
concerts. There's, the arcades open all the time. There's always people walking around, and so you do feel just very energized the whole
Yeah.
time that you're there.
Yeah.
So it does. It has a really fun, very very fun kind of
Yeah.
vibe and energy.
And when you're into geek culture and video
Yeah.
games and stuff, it's just fun to be surrounded by all that for a couple of days and just kind of forget about real
it
life.
really was.
So it's like a little escape for us. So we it's impossible for us not to enjoy MAGFest, to be honest with you.
It's true.
But it is a good convention. I'm not putting it down or anything for the whole game thing. It's very well organized.
It is.
It
It's amazing to me
seems-
how many people they.
Yeah. So we are big fans of it, and of course it's only an hour away from us, so it's easy for us to drive there, and it's not a big endeavor to get there, and not a lot of travel expenses. So that's always a big bonus for us, obviously. But always a good time, and this year was no different. We had a great time. Loved hanging out with Yoshi and the Cartridge Club guys. And
Yoshi's like our MAGFest buddy.
yeah,
We always
we
hang
tag
with
around
him. We
together and
eat
meals
a lot
together.
of meals with him and stuff. So it's fun. I like that.
So, yeah, and one thing we were a little disappointed at first that we thought was going to be a big deal was that we weren't staying at the Gaylord this year, where the event is, or even at a hotel across the street. This is the first year that we had to drive like 10 minutes away to
The
get
horror.
to our hotel, which we were really bummed at. But there are actually some perks to that.
There were some perks
That we didn't really think about. In hindsight, it really was fine. And that being that we didn't have to wait in line to get on an elevator and go back to our room. Because if you're staying at the Gaylord, it could take like a half an hour
Oh, easy.
just to get up to your room because
I mean,
there's like
last
hordes
year,
of people just
We
jamming
walked.
the elevators.
I mean, I think
Yeah.
we were on floor like 14 or something, and we walked all the flights just so that we didn't have
Sometimes,
to
yeah.
wait for the elevator.
And then checkout, you have to wait in line for
Oh
like
my gosh.
an hour.
It's
to
true.
Check
The
out
checkout lines
sometimes.
are insane.
And at our hotel, there was 0 line. We
There
just
was
walked right
0
up,
line,
checked
yeah.
out, and got in our car and left. And there was no big crowd there, clamoring for the elevators. And we had a really nice breakfast every morning there. It was
Yeah.
nice and quiet and quaint.
For us old people, that
we
was
didn't have
nice.
to wait in line at the Starbucks for like 20 minutes and get a muffin. We had a nice sit-down breakfast. So there were always some nice perks to being
There were some perks.
a little bit further away from the actual event. So I was a little bummed about that at first, but it turns out it was really fine and kind of nice in a way. So
Because when you're as old as us, you don't want all the ruckus all the time.
yeah, you want to kind of wind up the day with some breakfast and coffee before you go
Go right
slamming
into it.
the event. Yeah, we got to kind of take our time with that.
I will say, one of the things this year that cracked me up, I think I saw definitely 2, maybe more, families who clearly had no idea what was going
They're
on.
like covering their kids' eyes and what is going on?
They were, so the Gaylord, the hotel, the convention center, during the Christmas season, they do Christmas on the Potomac. They have this giant tree. They have ice skating. It's a huge event. And so I suppose these families thought it might still be going on because we were only, basically a week and a half, 2 weeks removed from Christmas. So they brought their families, and
They weren't prepared.
They were not prepared.
MAGFest.
There was a mom in front of us, and she said, her kids were maybe like 8 and maybe 10, I don't know. And she was like, there are so many naked people. Like, I don't even know where to look. Like, not really naked, but some of the cosplay is rather revealing. And it's actually, MAGFest is one that we will not take our kids to, because when we started going, they were young, and we just didn't really think it was for them. And so now it's our thing, and they're not allowed to come. So
even if they're old enough,
it doesn't matter. They're never coming.
This is now our thing.
It's our thing. But anyway, this poor mom and her kids, and so they're standing in the Starbucks line, and they were just like, you know what? We're going to get a different Starbucks. We're going to go. I said, you're not staying here, are you? She said, no, we're not staying here.
That was funny.
Yeah. She said, I can't, because this was just before sundown, and she said, I can't imagine what's going to happen after dark here. I was like, you probably don't want your kids here.
Yeah.
So there were this year. I think that was the first year that we've seen, like, families.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who, normally you don't see many people
There wasn't
who
a ton.
aren't aware that the con is going
Right,
on or the
yeah.
convention is going on, but yeah.
Yeah, we did see some families kind of pulling their kids along, like, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
What is happening?
Yeah.
So it's always funny to see.
It
their
really
reactions.
is.
Yeah.
Or if you go and walk into the harbor center and
Yeah.
people
are like,
might just be come to shop, regular people are just coming to shop, and
yeah, and there's people walking around with like a TV on their head and stuff, and on stilts and all kind of crazy stuff.
Oh, that's right, there was a stilt walker this year. I remember that.
There's some wacky stuff for sure.
Yeah.
But it's always fun,
It was. It's a really good time.
To see as crazy as it is. So we had a blast, and we look forward to next year.
Mm-hmm.
And what else? Is that pretty much it? I guess that covers everything. This is probably already too long. I'll probably have to do some editing. But I haven't put out a video in forever, and Mother Brain hasn't been here in 2 years, right? You weren't here last year, so this is her, she hasn't been here in a while. But it's just been busy, so I do plan on, I got another Stuck in the 80s video in my mind that I'm going to be working on very, very soon with a special guest. So look for that soon. And who knows what, I want to try to get into making more videos more regularly, because it's been a bit of a lull on my channel, and I hate that, because I do enjoy it, but it is what it is, life happens, and we're busy, and we got 3 teenagers we're raising now.
Mm-hmm.
So
not quite. 2 more weeks, 3 weeks.
Anna will be 13. Bobby just turned 17 like 2 days ago, and Anna will be 13 at the end of the month. So, yeah.
Then it'll be 3 teenagers.
Yeah. So that's why videos have taken a back seat. But I really wanted to do one for MAGFest because we didn't do one last year, and we had a really good time, and I wanted to say hi to everybody and make a quick video and tell everybody how much fun we had and show everybody my pickups. And I'm still loving the game. I know a lot of people kind of, I guess lost their enthusiasm for it, or at least it kind of seems to have, I guess toned down a little bit, but I still love it. I love collecting old video games and playing Atari and Nintendo, and I do a slow kind of grow process, so
do you have a healthy collection?
Got plenty more games to hunt for, and that I still want, and I still enjoy it very much. So well, that I guess is it, and we'll just say goodbye, and we'll see you next time, right?
I suppose so.
All right, we'll say goodbye.
Bye.
All right, see ya.
Do I have to wait?
No.